Well, hello once again. Here we are for another Wazza's workshop. I've been asked actually it was Tim, asked me about the whole Chroma Key with Streamlabs OBS. So I thought, well, this one here is for Tim. Now you might have met Tim in our other videos, and we've hung out together. We've been doing the what do you call it, the meetup together. He's fairly local to me. He's only well, depending on the traffic, he's only 30 minutes away from me in Bangkok. He probably will be here until at least Christmas, as far as we know. So we've used that time together to get to know each other. And as we've spoken before, he's from Canada, ex-police, and he seems like a really sort of neat guy. But anyway, he's asked me about the Streamlabs and how to do the whole Chroma Key, as we're sort of seeing here with the blue screen backdrop, and what's required to set that up. So I thought I'd just spend a few minutes to go through on that particular setup and what's involved. So where do we start? Well, there's a number of different points that we need to make out first, and that is, of course, to do with lighting. Blue screen or green screen or Chroma Key does require a certain amount of level of light to make the thing work properly. Now you can get and spend a hell of a lot of money setting up some pretty neat gear and equipment in a nice studio. Now even I've gone through this process, and I bought a whole what they call backdrop kit for 4,500 baht, and just I'll just stop here and just give you an idea of the lighting so you can see that. Yes, here we are on the Panasonic camera. Now behind me, what I've done with the blue screen, I've pulled out just the wrap, the drop for the blue screen, and hung it over that partition that at the back of like what they call I think the Japanese room dividers, which I bought. Like another one over there. There's another set. I usually use two sets when I'm doing the live stream with Stephen and them. As for lighting, right, what we have up here is I've got I think it's a 40 watt LED there. I've got a 40 watt LED there, and I've got another I think 8 watt. Actually, when I say 40 watt, I think they're in 10 watt. But they give a 40 watt equivalence. And this one here is like a 12 watt fluoro, and I've also got a bit of backlighting there in the room as well. So it doesn't take much. Now these were worth 250 baht each. I think these stand lights, I bought two of them at one stage. Well, they I think they were about maybe 400 baht each. But as I said, the whole backdrop thing here, this was 4,500 baht, but you don't need to go to that sort of detail and level of expertise. As I said, I've just strung the drape over there. Yeah, so there's not much that you really need to do, but the lighting does play a big effect. Now I've had to close the curtains as well in the room because the daylight floods too much light into the subject, especially with the kit the way I've got this sort of set up. There's a few caveats that also is the cameras are very critical, but I thought the best way to show the whole blue screen setup is to actually do it with, I've got a second camera here. So what we're going to do now is go to our smaller screen, right, and bring the actual Streamlabs into focus here. What I'll do is I'll make that a bit bigger for everybody. And don't worry about the multi thing. This is one of the things that happens when you do a screen capture. It's going to capture the screen indefinitely into the void. Gets quite confusing, but apart from that, you get an idea of the fact that this is the way things are done. So what I'm going to do now is on this particular retro gaming, we can go through this another stage. Actually, what I need to do is turn another thing on as well. Just hold on. Hit the pause key. Okay, so we're back now. Okay, so I've got to look at the camera, which is over here, and of course the screen I'm working on here, that's why can get a little bit confusing. Now I've got another little thing that I've got here, which is this. It gives me a bit more of a focus on the actual mouse where I'm pointing. Another little application. Now there's a few applications out there that will do this. This is one that I found that's free, and you can customize a little bit for yourself. It's not perfect, but it helps highlight the whole mouse. There's another thing also I've done on that mouse there is I've made that mouse point bigger, and it changes color across the screen. So it's easy to see on different backdrops. If it's just white on a white, then you can lose it, but if you put white on the black, it'll actually change the key as well. So again, it makes it a bit easier for people to see where you're pointing at. Okay, so now let's get down to business. Where were we? So I already recorded this once, and I didn't capture the right things. It's a little bit confusing talking to a camera, trying to do it all at once, but we'll muddle through it. I'll get better as we get doing more of these videos and how it's going to come across. Anyway, so what we want to do, I'm going to now add this second camera into the video source. So that's done through here. You can see the different sort of options here: video capture device, add source. Let's just make sure that you can see the little things. So video capture device, add source. Now I want to go down to add a new source, and I'm going to call this one SJ Cam, just so I know which one it is. Add new source, and there we have the new source being configured. I'm going to drop that out. There we go. Drop that off screen. Now, one of the problems I did on the last recording, I left that in the wrong position. Now that I can sort of see that that's the SJ Cam in there, but I'm actually working on the configuration of the SJ Cam. This is what we want us to see here. Unlike the Logitech, which gives me the ability to zoom in and out, the Logitech has some really nice features in here. If I go and just select that, stop again. Yes, the Logitech itself has some, if I go to properties here, it has some nice features of configuring the video, and it's got a zoom function, which makes life a bit easier, which means I can I'm not going to fiddle with it, but I can get the zoom aperture as well. Cancel that. On this particular one here, I go to properties, configure video. It doesn't have any zoom controls. It's just the fact that it's a sports camera. It's not an internet facing camera. Doesn't have all the nice bells and whistles that Logitech has available to it. At some stage there, this SJ Cam, well, it's served its purpose a couple of years ago. I've got a more enhanced version now, and I'll probably find the 4,000 baht I need to buy the 1080p version of the Logitech in the similar sort of vein of the camera to do future videos. Again, it all comes down to budget, and I don't really have budget to buy all this technical sort of equipment every time I want to do something new. I've got to justify. Anyway, enough of my budgets. We'll talk about budgets and money in another future video. Yeah, so I don't have some of the enhanced abilities, but as you can see, here's the device there. This is what we're going to be working on. There's nothing I can do here. These are all basic to the defaults. What I'm going to do here is I'm going to go into filters. Now what we want to talk about today is the filter for doing the SJ Cam. Of course, I can't really see whether this is coming through properly, but hopefully it is. It's what you should be seeing is what I'm seeing on the screen here. Okay, so I want to apply a new filter. Unlike some video editing software, there are, Streamlabs has a bunch of really neat filters. Now I'm not going to go through them. The one we're particularly looking for is a Chroma Key, which is the correct technical term. So I'm going to add a Chroma Key to that. It brings us back up to our video source again. And what we, again, you'll also notice there's a lip sync problem here between the SJ cam. Another reason why I don't use the SJ cam for doing live broadcasts. Again, it's just lip syncing. I don't want to have to sit there and fiddle with it. Anyway, the way we do it now is we're going to try to blend this video source so the fact that we can sort of see, actually we're looking at green. There's primary colours, there's custom colours. Now we're using blue. Right, what we want to do is we want to sort of see the blue, right, starting at 0, that's the actual picture. I found that starting at 100 here looks pretty good here as well, so let's start at 100. What we want to do is we want to blend that back one there, what they call similarity. Now, just a quick side note, when I did a blue screen using Filmora, so I recorded it with the Panasonic camera from a distance with the full setup. I had to iron that backdrop to get every single crease out because Filmora didn't have anywhere near this precise ability to fine-tune what they call the dissimilarity or the similarity of the color. Whereas, you know, this is one of the nice things about this particular software. It does allow you to get quite precise with your similarities. Now I could almost wipe that whole thing out, and it's even allowing similarity out there, but we're losing some of the details over here as well. You know, if I just take the blue to that level there, where all the blue is now black, that's probably an ideal position. We can do a little bit of fine tuning as well to get smoothness of that transition. So see, if I go too much in the transition, I get a bit fuzzy around here. These are going to be things that you need to play with. It's actually easier to play with it on the full screen. So I can now sort of move this off here and move this up here so that again I can sort of see what's the main screen. Right, so I know it's a bit confusing, but we're confusing different things with different things. As you can see, I can still see the microphone up in this corner. It's a bit fuzzy over here. When you're doing it yourself, actually, if I put it behind that, I think that's another way to do it. No, it's still going to do a picture-in-picture. Let's not get too carried away with that. It's just the way we're doing it. Like if I did it myself, I'd be able to sort of fine-tune that a lot better in the actual screen itself, and get rid of this picture-in-picture thing. But ultimately, that's an acceptable picture as far as I'm concerned. And as I said, that's what we got here. We've got contrast, brightness, and you can do a bit more of adjustment here to get that ideal. Now, of course, the other thing is, of course, having hazel eyes. Going too much on the blue will turn my eyes black. As you can see in the bottom screen here in this little picture, it's come out all right because I've precisely fine-tuned it, whereas I'm only just briefly going through these particular settings to show you how it's done. So that's now done. We've saved that. I'm going to drop that back down there so we don't actually have to look at that any further. And we're going to get that off screen there so that we don't have that thing rotating and well, actually, again, you can sort of see there how well that's blended with that backdrop. But again, I've got the microphone up in here as well, and even my shirt, my black shirt, because I've gone too much. I've gone too black, which is something that you don't want to do. Again, it takes a bit of fine tuning, but as I said, there's a lot of control. Okay. So what does having this particular thing have advantage over something or other else? Well, I've used other formats. Again, coming back here with the picture-in-picture. You've seen me do live stream before. Of course, I don't know why I've got a black over that. got a closing screen, large Facebook gaming chat, screen capture with chat. I've done a few different layouts, but because once I've adjusted the video source with the Chroma Key, it is now applying that to every one of my other gaming formats. Streamlabs is quite great. It has a number of different what they call default setups. The one I've chosen originally was retro gaming, and of course I've now heavily modified that from original. But that's again, we can go through and talk about Streamlabs and all the different templates you can use if that's something people want me to go through. Today really what we're going to do is we're going to focus on what Tim was talking about. Was he wanted to look at the whole thing in retrospect to online shopping. So let's go and just quickly have a look at online shopping. Here I am on AliExpress. I was we were out yesterday shopping in real shops, and I don't really want that particular one there. Let's go and use that one. Yeah, so I was out yesterday looking at the price of a new graphics card. Tim sort of voiced the opinion he wants to go through and do a bit of, like how-to, and whether you go full screen or whatever, just capture the whole screen. This is, I don't know if I'm actually logged. No, I'm not even logged in at the moment, but I'm looking for a new graphics card. I've got a 1050 GTX 1050 card. Do I want to spend 44,000 baht? Ultimately, what I just found out when I opened this page before was there's a brand I'd never heard of using the same GTX NVIDIA graphics chipset for 30,000 baht. But again, it's still quite a hefty sort of slug for computer graphics. And again, if you're not a gamer, you wouldn't appreciate that sort of ability. I'm going to be doing more gaming videos for the YouTube gaming platform. But again, feedback I've had, not too many people are interested in the gaming platform or me playing games. What I'm trying to do is I'm trying to encourage Cody and the others in our gaming group to let's game together, and we'll screen capture it and do the whole picture-in-picture thing like we're doing now, and walk through games. But again, it requires everybody to be on the same ballpark as that. Maybe when they come out here to Bangkok next week, actually when this video will probably go up today. When they come out next week, then we'll talk more about doing more of the live streams. I know sort of Seeker does the live streams as well. Anyway, I'm getting sidetracked. But ideally, sort of with the getting back to this thing here, using the mouse pointer with this hotkey, as you can see, the mouse pointer does change. It's currently black on that screen. Right. I think when I use the yes, it's changing colour there. But it makes it a bit easier with the little pointer sort of circle, which might be something that people want to use. The name of that particular program is Big Mouse Cursor for Windows. So it's davnav.com. There will be a link to this down below in the description box. It allows you to that's the default mouse cursor that you'll get with the package. It is a free download. Click here for software and download. Yeah. There's whatever. Click that button there for the download. There you go. So show you just download here. Installing that'll give you the circle. The other thing you might want to look at as well is the way you can fine-tune the mouse. That is done here through your settings in Windows. Going to ease of access, there's a cursor and mouse size pointer, which allows there's your defaults. Normally it's a white mouse. That puts the things changes. When it's a white background, it goes to black. It gets intelligent, so that it changes colour to give the best contrast to whatever it's mousing over, and also making the mouse pointer bigger, just so it's a bit bigger and easier to see on screen. Using those two there may make, again, I've got a big screen anyway, I find the big mouse pointers are helpful. Making the, putting the circle around it just gives a bit more of a highlight on what you're clicking on. There are some pretty hefty and fancy packages out there that zoom and flash and do it, but everyone I've looked at you have to pay for. And again, if you really want to enhance the production, maybe you're going to look at paying a subscription model for some sort of clicky, blurry, zoomy sort of thing. But quite frankly, I'm a skint ass. I'm not going to spend money to do something when I can do that, and it's just as effective. Really, it is. Anyway, so without getting too sidetracked, as I said, you can use it for sort of doing it there. I want to go through and do some instructions on how do you use my website. Again. How do you use the Thailand Hub, which is another website I set up for other vloggers here in Thailand. Not just so much for vloggers, but for other people to come and be part of a community outside the Facebook genre. Facebook is great. It has a wide reach around the world, but a lot of people get worried about their privacy. Again, you'd be worried about privacy on the Thailand Hub as well. I'm in control of that, which is something that might offend people as well. It does require, I won't go through all the details. It does require that you verify your email address. It does have IP address tracking, which means if we get trolls on there, I can ban the IP addresses. I can ban the accounts. They can't use fake addresses. They have to be authorized. They have to click an authorization process to get in. And again, it's just a simple fact that if people come on there and they want to troll, and then they can just go through the process. We'll just keep it fairly well monitored, and keep the trolls out. There will always be trolls in the internet. It's just the fate. That's the fate of the internet. Anonymity. I'm not too worried about usernames and things like that, but I'm trying to build a community here. If people are going to be trolling, well, they're obviously people who do not want to build community, right? They are usually sort of get hell bent on the way that they run their life. How many friends they've really got in their life? Well, anybody's guess, but usually that sort of people you find really don't have that many friends at all, if you know what I mean. Anyway. They might sort of profess that they've got 10 really great friends, but not going to go into it. I enjoy the company I keep. I enjoy the people I meet. I enjoy doing what I'm doing with the video stuff. I enjoy sharing. I'm also into helping people with their computer problems. I've done that for most of my life. I do that for free for people. The only downside with that is I will need you to download a bit of software. The software I use is called TeamViewer. Right, so if you've got problems with your computer, hit me up. It's a free download for personal use, and of course it will be personal use for the people I engage with. So you don't have to worry about all the thing. It's quite a handy piece of software, let's put it that way. I don't want to go into too much of this stuff. Let's do separate videos on how these things work. But if you do need me to help you with something, this is a critical part of it. Trying to explain something to you without me taking control and showing you where things are. It's like sort of leading a horse to water and then forcing it to drink. It's just, you just can't do it. I have to show you, I have to communicate. You're going to have a sort of an audio source, you're going to have a video source. Well, you don't have to video really, but you're going to definitely need to have the audio, because we are going to need to communicate, and I need to take control. So you need to authorize me coming into your computer. So what I just recommend with the people I do it with is just remove all your porn, remove all the porn links so that you're not embarrassed. We will, if you want, we can take you through, and if I'm going to do a support like that, we can even do it like this as a video as well, if you know what I mean. So we can not only help you work through your problems, we can also help other people look at the problems you're having, because they may be having similar problems. But this is another thing. This is basically where I really want to go with Wazza's workshop. I ultimately here to help you guys deal with computers. I've got I'm a walking encyclopedia when it comes to computers and dealing with computer stuff. I don't like to put feathers into our caps, but you know, last 15 years in the workforce, I worked for a multinational company, and I built their computer systems from when I first started working with them in 1998 as a subcontractor. Put their first server in. When I left that organisation, we'd just, I think, commissioned the 240th server around the globe. And every one of those servers I'd hand built and put in. Okay, we had a good association with Dell and everything else. I know everything from the very simplest things, from how to just start your computer and how to fix your computer, to building sort of what they call large-scale computer systems that connect globally. There's pretty much not much I don't know about computer systems. But as I said, it's not for me. It's for, you know, if you need help, I'm here for you guys. Anyway, so hopefully you found this video useful. If you did, hit that like button, share it with your friends. You know how it goes. Share, like, subscribe, and you know, and ask questions. I've got a list of things we want to be covering. This is number 2 in the series, and they will all be sort of, as branded differently. They're going to be on the same channel. This is something that we also have to deal with. Should I have a different channel for it, or do I have the same channel? There's difference of opinions. Everybody has a different opinion. In my case, well, it's me. It's my channel. I choose what I want to do. I'm going to leave it on the same channel. I'll just make the videos a little bit easier. You know, the thumbnails will be a bit different to each other. These ones here, I'm going to go for this particular sort of, you know, front screen branding that makes it easier to detect. The backdrop here, this, you know, this Star Citizen backdrop that we got over here. That's just something from Star Citizen. That's my character in Star Citizen looking at guns. Well, there you go. Let's not get too sidetracked. I think I got 50 of these backdrops or back screens that they change every day. So I'm pretty sure we won't see 2 of the same ones ever. But you never know. They could just pop up from time to time. Depends on how many of these videos we do. Anyway, enough of me chatting. I know I can talk all 4 legs off an Artura and Mega Donkey, and then probably teach it to go walking again. But as I said, I want to help you guys sort your problems out, so hit me up and see what we can do. Peace out, and bye for now.